Hey everyone, most VTubers have one model, but I have multiple. When I found my original model, I found another one that had the exact same head, so I've had that in the back pocket for business occasions. But when I was going to get my new model, the one you see before you right now, I wanted to have several joke reveals. You can watch the video on this channel to see them all. The first one was the aforementioned business cat, but the second one was a buxom cat girl. While it started out as a joke, she quickly became popular with the viewers, so I knew I had to keep her around. Then I had an idea. What if I could let chat talk through her as a channel point redeem? To VTube, I use a program called vseeface. I figured I could use another instance of this to bring her to life. vseeface requires 3 things: a model, a camera, and a microphone. I had the model, so I just needed the other 2. For the camera, I found a program called altercam. This lets me use a video to create a virtual camera. Ideally, I want a video of someone facing the camera and just talking. Initially, I tried to use some visual ASMR, but I couldn't really get a clean shot. Then,
the boomer memes shitlord of me.
Ye Old Boxy had a great video of just that. She's super exaggerated, so she leaves the frame a bit sometimes, and it's not perfect, but it do. Next, I needed to get a microphone. I found isiah creati's bot. I think it's isiah creati, but who knows. This will read chat out loud using text-to-speech. Typically, it's a browser source that you put inside of OBS, but I needed it as a microphone. I've had some experience with Voicemeeter, so I knew how to make various apps into a virtual microphone. I put the browser source URL in Firefox. Then, in Windows, I set Firefox to go to virtual audio cable A. Now whenever someone redeems the channel point reward, she'll speak through cable A. With these 3 in place, vseeface was happy and I put her inside of OBS. Now, I just needed to get her to pop up whenever she spoke. Initially, I had Leor on board just move her up for 30 seconds and then move her back down. While this worked, I had hoped for her to only stay up as long as she was talking. A lot of people have had weird, convoluted solutions to this, but I found an easier way using the Move Transition plugin. Unfortunately, this is the part of the video where I say, if you're using Streamlabs OBS, you need to switch. Plugins only work on the regular OBS. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get into it. Okay, so there are 3 relevant items to this conversation. You need to have your avatar in this, in its own scene. You need to have a audio input, and you need to have a nested scene. So you need all 3 of those. I have swolebae and swolebae standalone. It's a game capture. vseeface doesn't necessarily name the window based on the avatar. So how I sort of cue off of that is that I always open up swolebae after my main avatar. That puts this like bracket 1 in the name, and so I sort of cue off of that. So the other thing you'll notice is that she's at the bottom. This is good, but we'll be able to set this up later. You could have her at the left or the right or whatever, it doesn't really matter. So if you have a less complicated setup, I have 3 stream overlays because I want to have certain scenes that either have their own version of chat or have swolebae in a different place. Like, let me find an example real quick. Like, this is a good example. swolebae is in, this is actually swolebae. I don't really want her coming up from the bottom left, so she's there in bed with me, right? Cool. So that's why I have this, but if you have a less complicated and you're just like, I always want the character to be in the exact same place, you can combine all the stream overlays and it's going to be a lot simpler. On the top level stream overlay, I have swolebae standalone. This has 2 filters. These filters are move source filters. I have one for going up and I have one for going down. You'll see if I click, if I make go up visible, she's up and then she immediately goes down. Now I can't click on the go down to disable it, and this is because I have audio stuff changing that, and we'll get into it. But I want to talk about these real quick. For my go up, I have no delay. I set the duration to be 300 milliseconds, and then I set the transform. This is how she comes up. Basically, I have the Y value set to 63 pixels. That's because when I full screen swolebae, the bottom 63 pixels of the screen are reserved for the taskbar. So she's doesn't take up the actual full screen. So this is where she's like coming up to the bottom. Then for go down, this is really important. I have a start delay of 1000 milliseconds. So if there is more than a second of pausing, which there won't be, then she'll go down. It's very important to not have this be 0, because if there's any pauses in your words, she'll start like kind of like bouncing a little bit. So you don't want that. So I have it at 1000. It's worked great for me. Obviously you could do less or more depending on what you want. Next is the transform. I have it at 1440. That's at the bottom of the screen. I have a 1440p monitor, so that's why it's 1440 and not like 1080 or something like that. All right, cool. It's very important that this is on this nested scene and you set those up first. Next, let's take a look at the audio input. So you'll see it's just a audio input. This is cable A, as I mentioned before. Next, let's go into the filters. So gain and compressor, I don't want to really talk about those because those are just random other stuff. I want to talk about move swolebae up and move swolebae down. These two are audio move filters. So if you watch my PNG tuber video, you'll know all about them. But the big change here is that we want to do filter enable. We want to do the source will be swolebae standalone and this is the scene in our stream overlay. Then we have filter for go up and enable over. So when it's over this threshold of 1.0, which means any sound, she'll go up. And then we have move down, which is basically the inverse. It's really important that the threshold is the same. But here I have enable under and disable over, where up is enable over, and here I have go down instead of go up. So you need all of these 4 filters in place, but once you have that, that's pretty much it. I just want to reiterate that it's super important that these thresholds are exactly the same. All right, swolebae, please say something. Thank you. Perfect. There we go. Easy. Well, I hope this has been helpful. If you want to catch her in action or see any of the other crazy stuff I do, stop by twitch.tv/swolecad. I'm live every day except Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Later.